Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the September 19th, 2024 Town Council meeting. Just want to note that the entire council is present. Mayor Mahoney is absent tonight. First order of business is Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to just take a moment and remind us all of a significant milestone that just passed, September 11th. So I'd like to say this pledge in honor of those who lost their lives on September 11th.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have it. At this time, I ask, is there any public comment on any item on the agenda? Hearing none. We've read the minutes from the July 18th, 2024 public hearing. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 18th, 2024 Town Council meeting?
So
Move.
moved. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the minutes of the September 10th, 2024 informational work session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We'll move to reports. We've read Holly's report. Holly, do you have anything that you want to add at this point?
I just want to add, we did have an informal meeting regarding the water park just before this town meeting. And we are getting ready to release a survey, hit on some of those questions, look and feel. We will be at the Taste the Beaches event with a town table, offering additional citizen engagement as we move forward in the process. Thank you.
All right, we've read Holly's report. If we have any questions, I'll start with Councilwoman Bodine.
Yeah, thank you for holding that water park work session. It was most informative. I do have a question regarding the public boat ramps. You know that the Paddle and Pathway pickup is at the end of the month, and I was wondering, will we have a kayak launch at that time or not?
So we recently found out that we actually are required to have an MDE permit for the temporary launch, unfortunately. So we will not have that for the event that you have in September. However, Jay had some ideas in terms of how he could still assist with making sure that they could volunteers could safely gain access to the water through the ramps.
So the town does have the 6 kayaks, and we're going to have staff for that day. So we will mobilize them over there if needed and can assist with people in and out as they bring trash. So we'll use the kayaks we have and assist people in and out.
Okay, my concern is obviously how slippery those ramps can get. And so just liability for the town. I'm just a little concerned. I know that we've been working with the county, and there'll also be some kayaks coming from the county also.
Correct. So we plan Public Works to go there, and I know exactly what you're talking about. That was my concern from the get-go. Do what we can to make it not as slippery, and also have staff to assist in and out with the kayaks, because I think they're going to come back with their trash anyway, and we'll be there to pick it up at the same time.
Okay, thank you. And is it possible to get an update on the status of the tennis courts?
Yes, I requested a meeting on site with Board of Education staff, and actually the county administrator attended as well. The county has been a great assistance in trying to help the town navigate with the Board of Education. The Board of Education still owns, obviously, the land. What was discussed are some options where potentially the Board of Education could deed the land back to the county, or potentially deed the land to the town. And then that would open up access. So instead of having those restrictions of just nights and weekends, it would allow the town could set, dawn to dusk, as you do with your other parks, and allow the public to access them. So I did speak to Commissioner Grasso. She's been very much in support of the town, and the county commissioners are working with the Board of Education to aid in that process.
If there's anything we can do as a town council, like a letter of support in this idea of like having the Board of Education deed it to the county, have the county deed it to us, or whatever. If there's anything the town council can do, I would encourage it. just to show support of how we're trying to, whatever the best solution is, move it along, you know? Okay. And I guess we'll be discussing it tonight when we talk about the MOU for the sidewalk to Chesapeake Village. So we can wait until then and we can discuss it. I don't really have any questions. I like the idea of moving forward on that. So, is there anything else that you think you'd like to bring up?
I do not have anything in particular. No, thank you.
Okay, if I come up with anything else, I might ask for a second go around. Okay, Charlie?
Say it again.
If I come up with something else, I may ask for a second go around.
Absolutely. Give a shout.
Thank you.
Councilman Jaworski.
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to just congratulate the Calvert County League of Women Voters on our candidate forum. I thought it went very well. It was very informative, helped me a lot. I think it's great that we've got 11 people interested in running for our 6 council seats. So we'll see how that all turns out. Moving down the list, under the item on current requests for proposals, I was just curious, some of the items say it's a mandatory pre-bid meeting while others don't say mandatory. I'm wondering why the difference.
Yes, and working with the treatment plant superintendent, we decided which ones were important that they made an on-site visit and all heard the same information. So if it was something that we could avoid and not make it mandatory, we did. If we felt that they could price it without making that site visit particularly.
Thank you. I see we now have an estimate under the water park. We now have an estimate for concept number 3, which is the same as concept number 2. So we'll move forward with that. I agree with Councilmember Bodine on the tennis courts. Whatever we can do to move that forward, I think would be very helpful. That's under the tennis courts. Maybe we can seek assistance from the Board of Commissioners. Under the safe routes to school, I know we'll be discussing that a little bit more later, but the work session, we discussed an alternative route that would be outside SHA authorization. And I see in the town engineer's report that indeed we are reviewing alternative routes. So I think that's great. Move forward with that. The listed here is the Bayside Boardwalk and Overlook, and we all know what its real name is. Yeah, the Jaworski Memorial Walkway, but okay, we'll call it the Bayside Boardwalk and Overlook. I think we discussed this once a long time ago, and I'm just wondering, possibly could we look at just shifting the boardwalk a little bit further east over the marsh area and get it out of the SHA authorizations?
Yes, we can.
Good.
That would require a easement from the, sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
Horizons?
Horizons
Yes.
and
And Seagate, yes,
to do that.
to tie into the sidewalks.
Yes, correct. But otherwise, we could do that.
Yep, great. Moving on under sustainability on the energy audit, any update on moving that forward?
I have not received the report back.
And again, just 2 words on that. Solar panels. Under the water reclamation treatment plant, Mr. Stennett, thank you again for a wonderful detailed report. I love reading these reports. It takes me back to my old days. For anybody who might be reading this on, what page am I, 21? It talks about the staff performed a rework of the PACL chemical feed system. That's polyaluminum chloride, and it's used for removal of phosphorus, which is one of our permit requirements. Any update on the schedule for the headworks?
Right now, we've had discussions with Macron and working on the finalization for the wet well. We are holding on the grit and screen equipment. We're going to go have staff go out on a field trip next week up to Broadneck wastewater treatment plant where they have this piece of equipment installed just to put physical eyes on. Speak with the staff on site there for feedback on what they think of that, how well that piece of equipment worked. I don't want to just say, have a vendor say, this is the greatest thing out there. We get it installed and it doesn't
Yeah.
work the way they said it did.
And the same to you when you look at the Headworks solar panels. On the item on the capital connections, I just continue to hope we can work with our local businesses to resolve these issues in a satisfactory manner. I already talked about another item here. And then one of the last things I have is under the code enforcement. Under code enforcement,
Yes.
I'm looking down this list, and first of all, some of these cases have been open for several years. They're dated 22. One address has 10 cases, another address has 5. I'm wondering, is there anything that can be done to move these forward to resolution?
Most of the ones that you're referring to, or actually all of the ones you're referring to, have been in court. And so some have court orders to make certain repairs. And so unfortunately, we are doing everything we can to have those resolved. And so we're hoping to have those closed out soon. One that has the most is actually that failed private septic system that they have to install a new septic system. So that property is actually condemned. So that will stay there until it's
Okay.
corrected.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. Most of my questions have been answered. I wanted to just touch back on two things. One is the water park, and a big thanks to Savannah Richardson, who was in our water park forum and proved again why she's a very valuable asset to the town. She had a lot of informative information about lifeguards and staffing on that. I would encourage people, and there'll be many opportunities for this, to take the survey that Holly will have up. A lot of good information about the water park and the options there. So thanks to Savannah. And then regarding the tennis courts, just a quick note that the mayor attended the Board of Education meeting, and I'm hoping to get a better update before the mayor's report, so stay tuned. I'm going to pass it to Councilman Morse.
Thanks, Charlie. A lot of stuff in here. I wanted to say bravo on Town Hall, working to make the pre-bids non-mandatory where it makes sense. We know that when we make it mandatory, we get better attention sometimes, but it kind of waters down the number of bids we get. So it's a good thing. Bear with me a second. The tennis courts, I'd like to thank Commissioner Grasso and any commissioners who are working behind the scenes here on this tennis court matter. We all know that the permit was issued with the agreement that the tennis courts were going to remain. And they are a condition of closing out permits there. I'm not sure I'm in support of the town taking them over necessarily. I'd probably rather see, if I could choose, I would rather see the county take them over, and I'm still willing to be a partner and trying to fix them. But I don't want to have anything to do with operating them and, or administrating the construction in there either. So we'll see what the mayor brings back. This is a little locked up, but it looks like it's freeing up, and I can see where the path may be going, and it's good. But thank you to all the commissioners, particularly Commissioner Grasso. Those tennis courts support, her entire district. It's not just, Chesapeake Beach. The safe routes to school. I don't know if this is a question for Charlie or not, but what is our next step there? What are we doing? We're looking at the alternative route, and we're open about that now with the state. What are we doing?
So the plan before town council tonight is to go back to the state and ask for the additional increase in funding. So the MOU is for $200,000, with the state covering 80% and the town covering 20%. So the plan would be to have town council authorize a request to move that MOU number, amend it to $529,000 with 80% share to the state, 20%
That's
to
for the
town.
originally proposed route.
The original 100% design. And then the other recommendation is to continue forward with the feasibility study on that alternate route and have that working as well, not knowing if the state will
Sure.
approve that amendment to the MOU.
So concurrently, we're going to continue marching down the path that the state has kind of led us down. But concurrently, we're going to aggressively, we really feel strongly that this second option really is going to be the way we're going to go. And so on that, and I'm sorry if I missed your response. What are we doing tomorrow as far as advancing that second option?
So Wayne is going to start a feasibility study. Wayne, did you want to address that?
Yeah, so our office will prepare a feasibility study, much like we did for the Jaworski Memorial Solar Parkway.
This is something that your company's doing, right, Wayne?
Correct. Yeah, we will.
How long is that going to take you?
It's going to take us about 3 to 4 weeks.
So can we ask that we be ready by time next council meeting rolls around here for that to be done, and we can talk about it, and anything council needs to weigh in on, take care of that?
We can probably have a preliminary alignment. I don't know, and some grading and some ideas what it's going to look like. I don't think we'll have a final cost estimate by that time,
Sure.
but yes.
Okay. Okay, great. Fair enough. Thank you. That's good. I had a question. It looked like you were teeing up a bunch of the options that maybe are coming back from the old walkable committee, the connections that were determined and the priorities that were set. There's a Richfield Station connection in here that I had a question about. The project creates a connection from the existing railway trail in Crestview Lane. I don't remember what that was. I mean, we're Crestview Lane, we're connected to the trail already. What is the change there that we were taught that was considered?
So, yes, so this list is here actually at your request. So you had asked for just continual updates on these projects and where they are on priority. So this was an expansion of that loop and trying to loop over to, I think, additional property that's actually not currently owned by the town. So it was, I think, another feeder loop into a
There were some
much
dirt
larger-
trails. Were those the dirt
Yes.
trails that we're talking about? Okay, awesome. Thank you for reminding me about that. There's some notes in here, critical area regulations.
Yes, the Planning Commission
17.
just is wrapping up their critical area regulation, and that will be before town council next month.
Yeah, I want to request that somebody from planning and zoning attend the work session and walk us through their process here and why they're recommending what they're doing. We rely heavily on folks in these that are in these committees when they're making recommendations. They're studying a lot of stuff. They're bringing good recommendations, their best recommendations to council. So I do want to hear, their logic behind whatever those recommendations are. Where are we on the Richfield Station water tower branding, the town branding?
I've got one quote to do it, but I'm also considering incorporating it with moving forward with the maintenance program. I want to bring in front of the council because there's some different options and it would change the price of it. So we also have getting quotes for washing the Chesapeake Village water tower, and there's a company that can do both, and I have 2 companies that just do branding. So I'm gonna have to come in front of council with what we budgeted and see what we can do.
Okay, so I see now, moving forward, you're trying to pull some of those things together so we have some value in the order of magnitude there. I just know that branding was approved by council 2 years ago. And now we're getting ready to move into the winter. And, now we're looking at 2025 maybe for that. And for anybody that's wondering, that's just the Chesapeake Beach logo up there. Council voted for that. Seems like a great economic development thing, and getting some drone shots coming over Fishing Creek and all of that is just going to be amazing. So will continue to follow that. Thank you for that, Jay. Let's see. I think that's all I had. Glad to see that we're continuing on, weather permitting, into October. Some of these popular things that we have with Cars and Coffee. Exciting news there at Bayfront Park with the kayaks and stuff. That stuff is awesome. So, thank you.
Councilman Bartic?
All right, thank you. Most of my questions have been answered already, but I do have a couple more things. One, I'd like to congratulate Savannah Richardson on her selection for the permanent position, and as well as you, Holly, for the full scholarship to attend to the Maryland Certified Public Manager program at the University of Maryland. So I'm not sure if we should talk more about the safe routes to school, but we seem to delved into it there for a little bit. So I had a question as well, just so I had an understanding, because I know it comes up a little later. So if that's okay, I'll just ask it now. And that is, The alternate route, so we have one route that's been in process along Route 261 for a while, years and years. And now we have to go back, submit, which is all well and good. And then we have an alternate route that we're talking about fully funding by the town, or we are going to ask Safe Routes to School program to also participate in the funding of that. Because it's not required that it's be on state highway, I don't believe, for it to have additional funding, is there? So that's
So
what
to
we
ask
need.
for state funding for the alternate
Yeah.
option, we could. We could go through I think the feasibility plan would be a good first start to ask for grant funding. So I think that would be something we need to do in order to state and possibly other programs.
I noted in one of the reports, I think it was the engineer report, said it will be much less than $6 million, but we were only paying 1.5 million out of that 6 million, if I remember. So the question would be, how much more expensive than 1.5 million would it be, which is what owing for State Routes to School.
Right. So the projections for the full project with
Is
cost
6 million.
escalation is more now,
Oh, okay.
11. So it's 11
Okay.
now with cost escalation. So
Okay, okay.
our share has gone up
So our
significantly.
share would be 20% of that. And so, yeah, so anyway, the question still stands, what is the cost differential for us doing that or that 3 million? And is it worth asking for State Routes to Schools support for the second option?
Right.
Hopefully not taking as long. I'm not sure exactly why this one was delayed, whether it was State Highway that was delaying it or the Safe Routes to School process that's delaying it. So if it's the process, then I guess we wouldn't want to do that. If it's just the State Highway giving us permissions, then I think asking for money to do that might.
Or maybe there's another state program. I'm not sure. Maybe it could qualify for open space as a connector. We'd have to look into others, maybe not Safe Routes to School particularly. Maybe there's another grant program that could qualify.
All right, thank you. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention was solar panels, like my colleague there. So 8 years ago, I was beating the drum of solar panels and I kind of gave it up. And I'm so glad that Larry's been continuing to hammer on it. But that is one of the kind of minor disappointments of being here for 8 years. I don't think we've gotten one solar panel. So anyway, that I would just leave with that. So thank you.
Councilwoman Arman?
Thank you. I just wanted to echo Councilman Pardick's comments to welcome Savannah Richardson to having full-time employment here. I think that's great. And also congratulations on your CPM scholarship. Good studying. Page 3, I have a question. How long have the kayaks been available to the public?
I would say at least 4 weeks.
And have people been taking them out?
Yes. And it's a self-service kiosk.
Mhm.
So we started a soft launch where we're having residents contact town hall before we broadly put out the form. And once they contact us, we send them the form to register,
Mhm.
and they are sent a code
Mhm.
to access.
Mhm.
And it's been working really, really well.
Super. Glad to hear it. And then a little bit more on the Safe Routes to School, just back to Councilman Pardick's question. What was the delay? Was it state highway MOU? Was that what slowed us down for like 6 years? Or was it something else?
It's a combination. So it took, I believe 2 years to get the MOU executed, if I recall correctly. It took 18 months at least, I think, to get the RFP finalized. It is a federal funded process, so they have a lot of different requirements. There was a lot of NEPA work that you had to do very early on. So I would say it's the fact that it's federally funded and they're following additional requirements and the state process as well.
If we were to take the alternative route, can we use anything we've learned in this first process to fund that process, to speed it up?
Anything through the 30% design that we
Well,
completed
the
already?
RFP, that we had to
Uh,
get approved. There's nothing we can carry over, is there?
No, there really isn't. The routes are totally different.
Yeah.
So the work that was done for the 30% design it's in a different location. So there really isn't something we can carry over. But the goal is to create our own concept and see if we can find funding for it.
And that is then my next question. Why are we continuing to try to find the $11 million solution if we think we've got a better solution in case the other solution, alternative solution doesn't work?
I think the thought around the recommendation to make the request to the state was to put it back in their court. The town has invested a lot of time and effort into this project. We spent money on the 30% design. We've spent money on the 100% design, a lot of staff hours and our contractor hours as well. So the thought was it would be not a great idea to just leave it and walk away. So staff made the recommendation for council to consider requesting the modification just to see what the state will come back with. But that's ultimately, council's decision, obviously. I'm going to move forward with that project.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess it's another plan in case the alternate isn't
That was the
feasible.
idea.
Okay, great. And then let's see, page 21. Oh, this is for Josh. I appreciate the continuous improvement that you do on the water park facility. I mean, the reports are a lot about continuing to make it right and not just have it fail and then fix, fail and fix. I think that's a fantastic approach. And thank you for that. And good luck with the signage, keeping people out. We have signs all over our pier saying it's private and people still go. Good luck. And then on page 27, the audits. I'm impressed in a bad way about the number of violations for underpayment and downright stealing found. And I appreciate your efforts and keep the good work going.
Yes, and I have a follow-up as well.
Okay. I just wanted to commend Brittany. I didn't tell you this, but doing some interviews with our auditor, they were just so complimentary of Brittany and all of her hard work. He said he wished that every town he works with had a Brittany, but they obviously do not. So I just wanted to commend you, Brittany, for all your work on the audit.
Very good. And then just one more on page 29, the house that I didn't realize there's that little house on 27th Street and 261 where the big tree came out and a lot of garbage got taken away. I thought somebody had bought the house or something.
So that was one of our code enforcement longstanding violations that was tied up in court for a while. Through a court order and then an appeal process. But yes, we got an order and cleaned up that lot. The neighbors were very appreciative.
Okay, great. So does that mean that they pay us?
Yes, correct.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you.
Councilwoman, you had a follow-up?
Yeah, since we started talking about safe routes to school and the alternative, just know that I still think the best option is a safe routes to school, the way it was designed, that the alternative is a second choice and not, in my mind, preferable. I mean, you don't want to be, if you don't have to, you don't want to be going through a neighborhood like that, and it's not direct. I mean, I think it's an alternative to, but I just make it clear. I mean, I still support what's been being worked on for years. And I just wanted to say that.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I was going to follow up also on Safe Route School. I think we maybe have beat it a little bit to death, and we have a couple other items on the agenda around it. I think that I just want to be clear that the route there are two routes. The route that had originally been proposed, which, in my opinion, the state will never write a check for. And that's my opinion. Could be wrong about that, but I have talked to people at the state, and to carve the path that they have originally proposed along 261 is insanely expensive, and the state has essentially said they have no money. So, we could fight that. We could be fighting that battle for the next 10 years. I'm not going to render my own opinion on whether one route is better than another. The route that's best is the one that kids can actually walk on soonest. So sounds a little hokey. I don't mean for it to sound hokey. And I believe that alternate route provides a quicker path to that. But there's a lot of work to be done to determine whether or not that's true. In the meantime, we're going to keep stroking as much as possible on both plans without writing checks, but on both plans until we get the quickest path. And I think that's where we want to go with that. That's my opinion. Doesn't need to be shared by everyone. I will stop, Councilman Morris, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, just on that, the state's own engineer, the study they provided us, why there was minimum bids and things, in their own words, they feel that the route is infeasible. So I want to underscore that. And then I did have it noted here to say, and I'm sorry that I overlooked it. It's important, as elected officials, as an elected official, I'm always trying to improve myself, striving to improve, our knowledge base. We go to the conventions and things of that sort. We take additional classes and stuff to be as good as we can be. It's one reason you join, because you're trying to be your best you. And I did want to applaud Holly for being accepted into the Certified Public Manager program, and the success of getting a full scholarship for that. That's great news for the town. And the more that we can improve our knowledge base, whether it's elected officials or hired employees, the better off this town's going to be. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Moving on, the town treasurer's report. We've all read Brittany's report. Councilwoman Hartman, I'll start with you.
No questions. Thank you for the report.
I have no questions either. Thank
No
you.
questions?
No questions. I just look forward to us finding ways that we can utilize the funds left over from the ARPA reimbursement.
Town engineers report. I will start with Councilman Bodine.
Just a quick one on the water park. Have we actually received the final geotech report?
We have not. It was due last Friday.
Friday?
It was due last Friday. We spoke today. They hope to get it to me tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Yeah, that was my question. And I'm well, if I'd been sitting in my normal seat, it would have been my question. That's outstanding. I cannot wait to see that. So we want to make that available
It'll be
as soon as you
publicly
get it. Yeah,
available.
outstanding. Nothing further. Thank you. Councilman Morris.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is Wayne or Holly. There's a permitting or some kind of issue on the Rod and Reel property with the tent that they have it was located in critical area apparently. What's the update on that?
There is a tent that was permitted over 3 years ago as a temporary use in the critical area buffer in the floodplain. It was to be removed, but it was not, and it's still there. So it's a violation currently that we are working with the property owner to resolve.
Is the state involved in that at all? Are they involved in that? Because
Not
being
in-
it's in critical area,
Not in the tent, no.
is there a path forward for the applicant there? I mean, if they wanted to try to keep it there and as permanent nature, I mean, is that possible at all?
My understanding is they do not want to keep it there permanent.
Oh,
In a
okay.
permanent nature, they plan to get rid of it no later than the end of the year, but we are trying to work with them to come up with a solution.
Well, end of the year seems that's right around the corner. Okay, thank you.
I have no questions. Thank you.
No further questions. Thanks.
All right, moving on to the sheriff's report. I'll start with Councilwoman Hartman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's everybody?
Okay. I have no questions. Stay
All right.
safe. Well, I wanted to wait till you got there.
I guess, yeah.
Thank you for your service. No
Thank you.
questions.
Sergeant, how are you?
How you doing this evening?
Y'all do a great job. There was an accident on 260 recently. It happened in the evening. It was a few weeks ago. It looked like it was in the incoming lane, just east of the entrance at Harrison Boulevard, and it shut down that road there for a little while. I was just wondering what happened, if you know.
I do not currently. I can take a look at it and I can get back to you by the end of the meeting here.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, we've
Sure,
got
not a
some
problem.
residents in Richfield that are
Absolutely.
looking.
Do you have a like estimate on the date? So within the last
Yeah, it
month,
was
I
just
guess?
a couple weeks ago. It was very recent. It was in the evening. It was around 6-ish because I remember I was heading the opposite way. I didn't get caught up in it.
Okay, not a problem. Yeah, absolutely. I'll get back to you by the end of the meeting. Yes, sir.
That's the only thing I have. Thanks.
Not a problem.
Evening, sir. Always good to see you guys in uniform. I just want to make one note because I'm always kind of amazed by this. I've commented on the efficiency of Calvert County Sheriffs before. So there's a handful of bullets here, well, probably a dozen, give or take. There's only one item here that I see that is sort of under investigation, the theft from the boat. Every other item, someone has been found and or charged as opposed to being unsolved. So cheers to that, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
No questions. Thank you for your service. Stay safe.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
O'Brien?
No questions. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Have a good night, sir. Stay safe. All right, moving on, North Beach Volunteer Fire Department. Councilman Jaworski, have anything to add for us tonight?
Nothing to add to the report, just that the department is going to participate in our Taste the Beaches event on Saturday, and they have agreed to allow parking at the firehouse parking lot. Thank you.
Oh, that's good. Anyone questions for Larry? All right, moving on to the mayor's report. I have in my hands the comments that the mayor made before the Board of Education. I was going to read them aloud, but I have read them and I'm not going to read them aloud because there's a few bad words in here. So I will still await a better update from Mayor Mahoney, and I'm sure if we don't get one tonight, we'll have one shortly. Thank you. All right, moving on to resolutions and ordinances. So we need an update. Bear with me one second. We're going to move our Okay. All right. Pardon me. So resolutions and ordinances, I'm going to introduce ordinance O-2413, an ordinance in town of Chesapeake Beach, Maryland, amending chapter 263 urban forest of the town code. We'll set a public hearing for October 22nd at 6:45 PM. Set a public hearing for October 22nd, 2024 at 6:50 PM on CAR 24-2, a resolution of the town of Chesapeake Beach, Maryland, amending the charter of the town of Chesapeake Beach to amend the veto override language in the town charter. And again, public hearing set for October 22nd, 6:50 PM. All right, moving on, report of officers and committees, planning and zoning. If we have any questions on the planning and zoning report, forward those to Holly. Board of Appeals, continuation hearing on case 2023-3, Rod and Reel Inc., Donovan Estates, LLC, was held on August 19th, 2024. The next continuation hearing is scheduled for October 24th, 2024 at 6 PM. I apologize. Hearing is scheduled for October 21 at 6 PM. Thank you. Chesapeake Beach Oyster Cultivation Society. If we have any questions there, we'll get them back to Holly. Yep. Climate Change Advisory Group. Councilman Jaworski, you have an update for us?
Sir, thank you. Our town administrator's report on coastal resiliency discussed the ongoing efforts to move forward with the town's coastal resiliency plan. Thank you, Holly, for quite a bit of detail in there. As discussed in that report, most current effort relates to possibly reactivating the floodgate between Horizons on the Bay and Seagate on what many locals refer to as Stinnett Marsh. When the town constructed that stormwater pump station at 31st and C Streets about 20 years ago, MDE required the pump station to discharge into the marsh rather than directly into the bay. That makes it almost impossible to close the floodgate without causing flooding along Route 261. Coastal Resiliency Steering Committee, chaired by Jeff Foltz, looks forward to hearing from MDE on possible options. Steering committee also hopes to move forward with implementing coastal resiliency plans at Kellums Field as part of an ongoing effort with the firm of Mahan Reichel. Co-chair Keith, any additions? Any questions?
Yeah, you might have hinted at that there, but besides, I know that the floodgate has kind of been in the bullseye and the crosshairs there. What's the next recommendation for coastal resiliency from that committee?
One of the things I suggested during our call with them was the possibility that the town might be allowed to construct what I'm calling an emergency overflow from the pump station at 31st and C, which would only be used under very specific and limited conditions so that the floodgate could be closed, but we could still pump from that stormwater pump station into the bay. But during the rest of the time, we will continue to discharge into the marsh so it gets a little cleansing of the water before it goes out into the bay.
It sounds forward thinking and responsible.
I used to get paid a lot of money for those ideas.
Well, I'm just anxious to hear how the committee's teeing up recommendations. That's all.
Thank you.
Before we move on from that, I just want to add one item to that. There's a handful of options there that we're also looking at, and I don't know where MDE will fall on that, but what Councilman Jaworski suggested is one of a number of options to try to mitigate the flooding on C Street and in front of Seagate. So stay tuned for that. Opening and operating that Seagate is an option, but not really the best option under current conditions because the stormwater is pumped directly into the marsh. So closing the Seagate would not be a good plan unless we can mitigate that part of the process. So as Mayor Mahoney likes to stay right there, Larry, for economic development.
Thank you. The County Economic Development Authority met on September 9th. Items discussed during our meeting included updates on several new businesses coming to the county, upcoming economic development activities across the county, financial status of the County Economic Development Authority, and various updates from EDA staff. That's the Economic Development Authority. The County Economic Development Advisory Commission met on September 11th. Items discussed during the meeting included filling vacancies on the commission, comments on updating the EDAC master plan, and staff updates. We also discussed the recently released Bay Passenger Ferry feasibility study. The County Tourism Roundtable met yesterday on September 18th, and items discussed included updates from the county on the county's events calendar, updating the 2025 visitor guide, and again, we also discussed the Bay Passenger Ferry. The committee is working on planning events and celebrations for our country's 250th anniversary in 2026, and we will meet next week on September 26th. And I'm also working with the North Beach Volunteer Fire Department to plan the department's 100th anniversary, which also occurs in 2026. Finally, and most important, this Saturday, our town celebrates Taste the Beaches, hosted this year by Baia Costa Italian Kitchen and Wine Bar. Event will run from 11 till 3, parking available at the firehouse and Kellums Field with a shuttle bus from Kellums to Baia. We will have local vendors, local organizations, local food, drinks, and live entertainment by the Ryan Forrester Band. Bobby Abner will be there shucking oysters and hosting the annual Mayor's Cup crab race. I placed Mayor Mahoney in charge of the weather for the event, and it looks like he will do a wonderful job. See you all there. Any questions?
You had talked a couple times about the Bay Ferry feasibility study, et cetera. Is there any information from that you can give us? Like yay, nay,
Yes, we can post that.
Yes, and they're supposed to follow up with us and make a site visit. That's the next step, is to look at Chesapeake Beach a little bit further. So they should be here on site soon. So I'll definitely keep you posted.
How can we post the feasibility study?
Yes, I thought it should be already
I
up.
thought it was too.
Yeah.
Is it still feasible?
Yes,
Oh, good.
Feasible.
it's got a long way to go, though. Long way to go. Don't plan to get on the ferry anytime soon. And again, I must stress, it is a passenger ferry because I hear so many comments from people about worries about traffic impacts. It's a passenger ferry. Thank you.
Any other questions for Larry? All right, next item, Green Team, Councilwoman Bodine.
Yeah. So we have our event coming up, Paddle and Pathway Pickup, Saturday, September 28th, in cooperation and coordination with the Northeast Community Center and Calvert County Parks and Rec. We'll be using Chesapeake Beach's kayaks, and Calvert County will be bringing some along also. And so it'll be from 9 to 11, and it's come together really well. This is going to be the largest one yet. And so I hope all the town council appear and be there. And there'll be a boat on Fishing Creek to pick up any trash that the kayaks and canoes and what have you collect. And so it's looking really positive. And if we have little people along, there's other areas within town that are safe around the fence area around Kellums Field, behind in the Kellums Field parking lot areas and so forth, where they can be help out and also be safe at the same time. And then we have an event coming up October 13th, and that's the Green Team will be tree planting along with Boy Scouts once again. And this time the area is the Kellums Field, near where the pavilions are, and then coming around. So we'll be planting a few trees there with the Boy Scouts. And so we look forward to that. They were a lot of fun last year when we planted trees, and it worked out really well. And so that's all I have for you this time. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Alan, Pathway Pickup.
Yeah, tree planting at Kellums Field. I know that you've been advocating for a master plan for Kellums upgrades. Why are we planting trees there without having a master plan approved?
Because they're on the perimeter. And so what I mean by that is think of the Trader's fence line, like along that kind of area. So it's not where anything else would happen. But it's right now it's used as almost out here. No, just out here where the rain garden is and the fence. That's used as a rain garden for water. And so it's like doing similar, only with trees, where we already have the depressed ditch right there.
Yeah, because under the next administration, I mean, we're going to have developed this plan for Kellums, and I have always advocated that it should be viewed as a blank canvas in a way. We know that the football, and it looks like we're leaning into having the baseball there too. But we do. I agree with you. We want a comprehensive plan for that area there. So I would just be a little cautious of intruding on that. Thank you.
I just wanted to let folks know that at the National Bird Migration Day event, Sam Droege will be speaking. He's from the Eastern Ecological Science Center, USGS. He works with me. Amazing scientist. I mean, if there was such a thing as the king bee, he would be it. But he knows, pretty much everything about native bees. Has been studying for 20 years. He's really an eclectic kind of guy, so he's interesting to hear him talk, and even just the way he dresses and presents himself is interesting. So if you can make it to that talk, I would highly recommend it.
Any other questions? That sounds very interesting, and good report, Councilwoman Bodine. Move on to Kellums Revitalization Committee. We really have no report at this time. People are well aware of the plans that Wayne is working on. I would look forward to some public engagement similar to what we're doing. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
I want to thank Public Works for all of their work getting the storm drain in. It's been under a lot of pressure. A lot of, Jay can speak better to this, but a lot of obstacles came up that were not expected, rerouting sprinkler lines or some power shoes, a couple of sinkholes popped up. So they've worked really hard to get that field ready for youth sports. So thank you, Jay. And if you want to add any further detail.
No, just like you said, I know it was a long time coming. MOU with the county, inspections, permits, years, right? So once we had the chance to break ground, we broke ground, and I was there every day. Whatever hurdle we ran into, we made way through it, and we're going to keep going.
I mean, it's an example of kind of a wait, and then when it gets in our hands, we execute on it pretty quickly. I think that's outstanding. So again, we have not done, we have not we've been hamstrung to a large degree to get this project done. This project is now very nearly done, and we will be moving that forward shortly. So stay tuned for that. Twin Beaches Opioid Abuse Awareness Coalition, Councilman Pardick.
Thank you. So I did mention this at our work session, but I want to just talk about it again because it was such a great thing. So August 31st was our Glow Vigil in North Beach. Was the 4th annual one that we had. And then at this one, it was the unveiling of the public art sculpture that we had been working on for about 2 years. And I wanted to just thank Sandy Mattingly, who coordinated really most of that project. She made sure that it happened, did an amazing job. And also wanted to thank all of the coalition members, Jane Bennett, Andrea McDonald Fingland, Randy George Miller, Katie Dorsey, Kathy Clune, Candace D'Agostino, Jeff Bishop, Mark Bartholomew, Jamie Boson, and Caitlin Barkel for all of their hard work in making that event happen and all the other things that we do. And they represent a variety of organizations, and some of them are just citizens, but the organizations are the Calvert Alliance Against Substance Abuse, the Calvert County Health Department, Local Behavioral Health Authority, as well as their prevention and recovery units. Emmanuel Church Celebrate Recovery are the 3 main ones. So I want to thank them for being involved in our coalition. And then also Thomas Sterner, who was the artist that was selected to create the art piece, and it was called Big Hug Chair, and also a memorial pedestal where folks could purchase a $20 brass plate to affix to that with a little message about their loved one that they lost. And so it's really pretty amazing. Please take a look at it if you get a chance. It's in the Mark R. Fraser Sunrise Garden. And I wanted to also thank the Maryland State Arts Council for the grants that they provided, $40,000 in grant money to make this happen, as well as the North Beach Mayor, Mike Benton, and the town council there for supporting our work and allowing us to put the sculpture in the garden there. And of course, all of you at the dais here, as well as Mayor Mahoney, for your support of our coalition over the years and of this project. So yeah, so there, that was an wonderful thing. That was a wonderful thing. Take a look at it. It's pretty amazing. You can sit in the sculpture if you want while you're viewing the other part of it. So it is somewhat interactive. All other things that we are doing, September 25th, I'm going to meet with the Twin Beach players to continue conversations started by Jane Bennett of our group to do a event with them. It's going to be 2 original plays that were written by students at the time. So they wrote these about 5 years ago, and we did dinner and a show at Windy Hill Middle School, and it was very well attended. It was really awesome to see all the kids involved. And one of the plays that they wrote was about the effects of overdose, and the other one was about vaping. And so, and then we provided pizza and sodas, and we had all our resource providers had tables around the outside. So if anybody wanted more information about what was offered here in the county, they could get that. But we're hoping to do that again in February of 2025 at the Boys and Girls Club in North Beach, because that's where they are located now. And then I also hope to have another special announcement in October at one of our October meetings. So I look forward to doing that. Thanks.
Couple comments, I think, coming up. Councilman Morris.
Oh, yes, thank you, Vice President. Yeah, we know that committees and volunteers in the town are really important. And I hope that we know that it's been a pleasure to serve with Councilman Pardiak here for these 8 years here. He's been a super strong advocate and has pulled this thing, helped to pull this thing along with a lot of care from a lot of other people. And I sincerely hope that Councilman, as a private citizen, I suppose, if you will continue on as a chair for that particular committee for as long as you are able to. And saying that, I do realize that the next administration, whomever is mayor, is going to reset all of these committees, and that the committee chair appointments is likely a function of that mayor. hopefully, I'm going to advocate for you to be reappointed per se to help carry that along for us. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment. I echo everything Councilman Moore said. I think I've been pretty consistent in and my admiration for the amount of work. But I just want to pause for a minute on the sculpture because it is fantastic. If anyone has not been down there or up there yet, go check it out. You are allowed to sit in it. I was kind of nervous about confirming that because I had already sat in it and took a selfie. So fortunately that was okay. I didn't have to go back and delete it, but it's really, really a cool statue and it's momentous. You know, the thing I had noted are the plaques that are on there of names of people who have lost their lives to opioid addiction. And boy, I could see someone sitting there making a commitment that my name's not going to be on that plaque. Powerful statue. Congratulations to all the folks that worked on it. All right, moving on. We have no unfinished business, so moving on to new business. We have a whole bunch of votes. First order is Town Council to consider moving the October 17th town meeting to October 22nd, 2024 at 7 p.m. And I'll just add a quick note that if we were to hold the meeting October 17th, we would not have quorum. So we had to corral and find a date. So do I have
Move
a
to
motion?
approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. So that meeting will be on October 22nd at 2024 at 7 p.m. Next item, the town to consider authorizing the mayor to send a notice to State Highway Administration, Maryland Department of Transportation, requesting a modification to the Safe Routes to School Memorandum of Understanding with Shaw MDOT from $200,000 to $529,000 per the August 20th, 2024 analysis provided by AMT, a consultant of Shaw MDOT. If the mediation request is approved by Shaw MDOT, this would increase the town's responsibility per the terms of the executed MOU from $40,000 to $150,000. That's a
105.
mouthful.
At 155.
105,000. Thank you, Councilwoman. That was a mouthful, but it was well covered in the work session, and we've covered it well tonight. Yep. So,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Next item, Town Council to consider authorizing the acceptance of the Heritage Development.
Yeah, so in the work session, we briefly discussed the acceptance of the Heritage Development. We've provided all of the documents for Town Council to review. I did follow up and make sure that the parcels of land that were open space that were to be deeded to the HOA have effectively been deeded to the HOA, and made contact with the property manager of the community to make sure there are no outstanding issues of the HOA.
This topic was also well covered at the work session. I'm wondering if Jay or Wayne want to add anything at this point?
I'll just add that the town has learned from other developments. This one was started while I was in position till the end, and I feel confident that there were things that didn't pass. They've made adjustments. I looked at everything that the town is going to take over, but also working with Wayne, we also went above and beyond. There are other areas that are open space that the county was to inspect. And there's some very steep hillsides. There's stormwater basins that the town does not own, but we wanted to ensure that they were indeed put in per plan also before the town would accept anything. And the reason being, they're still town citizens. And if these things down the road were not properly installed and failed, they're going to come to the town because they're not going to be able to fix them themselves. We had no say in the inspection, so I worked with Wayne to verify indeed all these geotech reports were proper, everything was installed to code, still is today. There was a lot that went into this to get to this point where we feel comfortable accepting, and I'll pass it to Wayne.
Yeah, I would simply add, working with Jay to get this to completion has been a pleasure. They've been a great partner in doing whatever Jay asked, what we asked them to do. As Jay said, over and above what was required, we asked them for certain certifications, which they provided. In the end, it was a very cooperative working effort between us and the developer to get the documents right that are now in your hands for acceptance, and I support your acceptance.
Good to hear. It's not always been the case historically. Council,
I just wanted to add, it's my understanding that the town attorney has signed off on all the documents.
I have, and I reviewed them with Wayne and Jay, primarily with Wayne, and I accept everything.
yes, sir.
You, certainly in support of getting things finalized over there. As we know, from development to development, it's varied for different reasons. Developers kind of get a sign off and kind of get off the hook a little bit before really the full intention of that the development has come to fruition. And to that, I just want to say that I would vote to move forward with acceptance under the condition that all required land transfers are fully complete prior to that, prior to them us letting them off the hook. We can't give them a hall pass to walk away until all the work that they need to be involved with has been completed 110%. You know, the town is spending money cleaning up stuff around the community where we've lost some leverage with developers a little bit. And, you know, it's easy to get people's attention when you have a permit that you're going to issue or a final approval, if you will. Who's responsible for the stormwater management areas in that development? Maintenance.
HOA is.
Okay. And they fully understand that they're responsible for doing all of that. It's not the town's place to make sure they budget and they take care of all of that stuff. But that being said, in Richfield, we've had some interference from the county on stormwater management cleanup. What's the county's role going to be? You know, or in other words, is there an inspection program for those to make sure? Is it a county program? So the county is going to be responsible for whatever annual or every 5 years or whatever it is for checking that. And I presume is the county going to communicate that stuff with us? I guess they'll let us know that.
They typically do not. They handle that directly with the HOA. So if they make an inspection, repairs are required, they're going to notify the HOA.
Right. And conversely, as has been the case in Richfield, the county hasn't been anywhere. The county hasn't inspected a damn thing with any of those stormwater managements, and they're in charge of it, which really puts the HOA in a little bit of a spot there. They're ultimately responsible for it, but I kind of feel like HOA and Richfield Station is kind of at risk here for some fines and things because of that. We've got 15, 18 of those facilities within the community there that we're responsible for. But okay, so you answered my question. That's the county there. And whatever the county is involved. The county's responsibilities in the release here if the county taking care of everything the county needs to do.
Yes, they have.
There's nothing outstanding that the county needs to do with that. Okay, 10-4. Thank you.
As far as installation, moving forward, as you said, there's a schedule of inspections.
Sure.
I can't say that the county's on schedule with inspections, but as far as all the paperwork, documentation, as-built, how they were built, are they currently to
For the
code,
release, yes.
is good today. And that's something the town really doesn't even have teeth in, but we waited, learning from the past, that we had all of this documentation confirmed, rubber stamped by everyone before we would enter and signing off.
So this is great. Go ahead, Councilman.
Yeah, so Holly, you addressed the question I had earlier, and just to make sure, I mean, we have a relatively new HOA here in the Heritage. And as a partner with them, even though it might not be our responsibility directly as a town, we've given them all the information we could possibly give them. They're aware of what their open green space requirements are, or what they have. It'll be deeded to them and everything. Like, you have a new HOA here. And so I just want to make sure that they're, as a good partner, well informed of whatever they may need.
Yes, we confirmed that it's been deeded and recorded. So that is effectively 100% transferred all of the open space in the community.
Okay. And has the HOA like communicated with the town? Like,
Yes,
do
I've
they have any
contacted-
concerns or anything about?
Yes, they had no concerns. I made contact with the property manager in charge of the HOA.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, I want to wrap this up, but go ahead.
I'm sorry.
One more comment.
Yes, just that. Yes, because I know that some of the HOA leadership was here, Chesapeake Village recently. I mean, that's not the heritage. Okay, that's a different subject. I apologize. Thank you.
Yeah, this was really good information, and I will tip my hat. I know Councilman Morris has been in the depths of Richfield Station for a long time. Councilwoman Bodine has seen a lot of developers come and go, not in the best of terms. But I think now we have an item before before us on the agenda. And if you are satisfied or not, let's move forward with this. So do I have a motion for the town council to consider authorizing the acceptance of the heritage development?
So move.
Second?
Do I have a second? Do we have further discussion? Do we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Good feedback. Next item, the town council to consider authorizing the purchase of a RTV from Prince Frederick Lusby Motor Company for Public Works in the amount of $28,016.71 to be taken from the fiscal year 25 general fund capital improvement line item.
Move to approve?
All in favor?
Aye.
Town council to consider authorizing the purchase of an electric golf cart from United Metro Golf Cart in the amount of $10,775 with a trade-in credit of the gas power golf cart of $1,800. Total cost of $8,975 to be taken from the fiscal year 25 general fund for Twin Beach deputy usage in the town of Chesapeake Beach.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item, the town council to consider authorizing the purchase of a truck from Weingartner for Public Works in an amount not to exceed $41,000, be taken from the fiscal year 25 general fund capital improvement line item. Total cost includes the purchase of a toolbox and underlying of the chassis with Linex. Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town council to consider authorizing the mayor to execute arborist services with Bartlett Tree Experts in the amount of $15,250 for a complete tree inventory and GIS mapping of public trees.
Move to approve?
Second.
Comment, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, on something like this, during the work session, I mentioned this, but I'm certainly following the lead of the tree board here in town with the recommendation, and I'm in favor. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Town of Chesapeake Beach, consider authorizing the town administrator to demolish the town-owned structure at 3915 26th Street, Chesapeake Beach, for a cost not to exceed $30,000.
I presume the town administrator himself is not.
I was,
I want to see her with a sledgehammer.
I want to see a hard hat and a sledgehammer.
Move to approve.
Happen.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Town council to consider authorizing the purchase of a solar-powered movable speed camera in the amount of $3,848 from the fiscal year 25 general fund budget.
Move to approve.
Second with a comment?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was out and about this past weekend, and I know this was intended, and it's movable for Richfield Station, Harrison Boulevard. And I would like it also, after due time, to go to C Street, down like near Chesapeake Station, that area. They're having a speeding problem down there. And so see if it can help out a little bit. But I mean, I know it was initially purchased for Harrison.
Yeah, the Harrison definitely is the impetus for that. My understanding is that we see this as something that can be moved around. It's not a permanent fixture. Locally, recently, there's been some issues. Maybe we need to walkable. Maybe we need to look at sidewalks there at Cox Road. But there's some trouble spots where people speed, and the idea is just to remind people when they're going through. You're going a little fast. Sometimes that's all we need is a reminder, and being able to have it move around to some various trouble spots, if you will. For me, that's definitely the big picture with that, and I'm in favor. Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The The ayes have it. And that concludes our voting. This time, do we have any public comment? Hearing none, go to the council lightning round, and I'll start with Councilman Hartman.
Thank you. I watched remotely a very well attended candidate forum last week. It was very heartened to see, first of all, the number of candidates who are running for this position, which is pretty much a volunteer position, and to have them have the opportunity to talk to the voters of the town on the different questions that were raised by voters of the town and others. And I think it's a great move forward to our election coming up this year. And I encourage everyone to get out and vote. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I thought too, it was a great forum. I enjoyed watching it. Congratulations to everyone who participated in it, the League of Women Voters, and to the administration. I don't have any additional comments. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. A couple comments. Well, those of you who know me know I'm a sports guy. Love sports. There's a saying that kind of sports is like life a little bit. And there was coming into Kellums Field, I think it was during the National Night Out, and I stopped and paused that there's a plaque, not a plaque, but there's a sign on that tunnel coming through that's posted by the Bucks organization. And it's entitled 10 things teammates don't let teammates do in a championship culture. And I want to assimilate that to everybody we deal with in town hall. It's a team effort. We're working together, and I'll try to be brief here. The championship cultures, and we don't cut corners. And to me, that means we don't cut vital corners. We're always looking for a straight pass forward, but we don't cut corners. We don't whine and complain. Whine and complaining for me is looking backwards. We want to proactively solve problems. So sometimes it's not comfortable, but we don't want to complain. We try to address problems and solve them. That leads into making excuses. We don't, and this is for everybody on both sides. We don't make excuses. If we say we're going to do something, we need to stand by that because we need to depend on each other. We don't act selfishly. That's kind of self-explanatory there. No place in a team to be selfish. We don't disrespect each other. We don't divide the team. A house divided will fall, for sure. We don't trash the coaches. That's for sure. We don't just throw tomatoes at people because we don't like something that's happened. We need to, and that goes both ways. We need to work together and be respectful. That includes not embarrassing the program. That's not embarrassing town hall, but it's not embarrassing the other side either. It's working together, and we don't give up. We've got problems that we need to solve, and some of them are tough. And we need to stand in the pocket as elected officials and try to find a path forward. And it's not always comfortable, and sometimes it's downright uncomfortable, but we've got to move through things and solve problems. Sometimes the negative stuff in an issue helps us recalibrate ourselves, and we grow a little from that. And we don't want to let each other down. That was the other thing. And I'd like to see, regardless of who wins mayor this coming election, I'd like to see that particular thing framed and hung in the mayor's office on the wall. And again, it's not just about youth sports here. It's about how we interact with everybody here at Town Hall and all the partners there. And on that, I wanted to comment the Kellums Revitalization Committee. I mentioned earlier that the committees, especially this being an election year, I fully expect whoever wins mayor to reset all of the committees. Some of the committees, they made that a particular, you may not feel is needed anymore, or maybe there's new committees that they feel, and they're in that, and the mayor needs to address appointment to those committees who the chair people are. I mean, anybody can attend meetings, that's for sure. But as far as the Kellums Revitalization Committee, I don't know if there's a new name for that maybe moving forward, but it's not going anywhere. That's something that we need to bolster volunteer efforts on. And somebody like Jamie Schulz, regardless of whether he gets elected or not, can really be an asset to both sides of that moving forward. I think that it could help dispel, some of the miscommunications that seem to be happening a little bit or perceived. But I think it can make us stronger moving forward. On that, I know we haven't had any Kellums meetings recently, but I'm hoping that with the dusting off of this plan here, that maybe we will have one prior to the election at least. And that anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I'm just going to try to be a little brief. I also want to thank the League of Women Voters of Calvert County and for I thought was pretty well-run event, a fantastically well-run event. I just as a little point of humor, I texted a Amazon clock that Julie could use for future meetings, so she doesn't have to raise her hand with the paddle. I don't know, anyone who watched the meeting might find a chuckle out of that. It's $39. I'll buy it for it myself. I want to talk just briefly about the water park. We had a meeting prior to this council meeting to talk about the water park. It was reasonably well attended. The people who attended were certainly full of questions, but it would have been nice if, it'd be nice to see more people because speed is of the essence. So there's going to be other opportunities. I know Holly's going to have a lot of information available, Taste the Beaches, hopefully other venues as well. We have two choices, folks. We either ignore the experts and just open the park. And I personally am not going to vote for that. Or we fix the park. And if we're going to fix the park and we're going to spend taxpayer dollars to do it, I think it's pretty important that we prioritize what town residents want. The easiest way to do that is to hear from town residents. So I encourage everyone to continue to provide feedback on the water park. It's going to be a fantastic amenity. And I'll wrap up with my typical call for civility. I have spent a fair amount of time on a couple different Facebook locations. And I must say, much of what I saw surprised me in a positive way. And I'll tip my hat to that. There are still plenty of people, particularly anonymous people like Angry Citizen 123. I'm making that up, but that's, point being just completely anonymous, throwing out misinformation. Please come talk to us. And let's have an honest, open, multifaceted dialogue. And with that, I will pass it to Councilman Jaworski.
In the lightning round, I'll just say, see you all Saturday at Taste the Beaches. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll also thank the League of Women Voters for the forum. I thought it was really well attended. And I think there's been over like 500 views on YouTube. And so it's a wonderful conduit to allow people to hear what all the candidates have to say. So I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters. That's so important every 4 years for our town voters to have that opportunity to really get to know their candidates. And other than that, I'll see you at Taste of the Beaches and I'll say move to adjourn.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Wife's idea.